And in 3, 2, 1, we're alive from the living room.
Come one, come all, y'all all welcome to my living room. Pour up some drink, light up your spliff within my living room. We tell the truth, we don't do lies within my living room. Mi casa, not su casa, bitch, cause this my living room. Please stand on business if you sit down in my living room. Yeah, I play games, but don't you play around in my living room. Plus we all grown, ain't no kids inside my living room. Man, we be so high, might see 4 clouds in my living room. Let's make a classic, show some passion in my living room. Don't pour you pass it, don't do ashes in my living room. Shit can get drastic, get on asses in my living room. Can't wear no hoodies or no masks in my living room. Come one, come all, y'all all welcome to my living room. Pour up some drink, light up your spliff within my living room. We tell the truth, we don't do lies within my living room. Mi casa, not su casa, bitch, cause this my living room.
Yo. Mad love to everybody tuning in. Once again, we live in the living room with a phenomenal guest today. 2-time Grammy nominated, multi-platinum producer, responsible for tracks such as Air Force Ones by Nelly, as well as many other who made his name known in the early to mid 2000s in STL music scene. Tarboy Williams live in the living room with us today. Man,
how you doing, my dude?
Man, listen, I appreciate you, bro. It's been a long time coming.
I told you I was coming through.
You did.
I told you I was coming through, dog.
Look,
I told you.
when we talked about it last week, I was actually just going live. I was super excited. I went live. I was talking about it, and I knew that I would get this interview one day, but I didn't expect it to be this fast. And I really appreciate you coming.
I'm getting in early.
He said early.
Everybody else can worry about it later. I'm touching down with the movers and shakers of the city early. I'm not finna wait and all this. Like, I'm with you now. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate what you're doing, what you got going on.
Hey,
man.
I appreciate it, bro. And like I said again, I appreciate you coming through. Just such a legendary person from the city. Like, you've done so many phenomenal things. And I know some jewels is going to be dropped today, so I'm really, really happy to get into this. Tarboy Williams, y'all. First off, I want to ask you. I gotta know the name. I heard the name when I was in Indianapolis. I wasn't even in St. Louis. I was living in Indianapolis at the time, and I kept on hearing about this dude, Tarboy. And I was like, who the fuck calls themselves Tarboy?
Well,
why? Where did it come from?
It's when I lived down in Atlanta. Like, I went to a sound recording school. You know what I'm saying? Down in Atlanta. And the name came from like a joke from, I'm not going to say who, because the person's no longer here, but it came from somebody that we all know, and they used to be like, that's the little Tarboy dude from St. Louis. It was another black person, so it was a female, and it just stuck with me, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it was down there in Atlanta when it came out like that.
Okay. Yeah, when I first heard
and that was years, that was back in my younger years, you know what I'm saying? Like that was like not the the mid-late 90s around there. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. And you was down in Atlanta at them times?
Yeah, no, like what it was I went down to Atlanta, to the Art Institute of Atlanta, like in, I think it was like 98, 99.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I was around in Atlanta during those times. That's where, you know what I'm saying, the name came about. And that's where I learned like a lot of what I know about the music business. That's not where I got a lot of the roots of my music production talent from, but that's where I learned a lot about the business from.
Okay, all right, cool. So, and when I first heard that name, I was always thinking, man, this dude is he like super black, like, you know, with a name like Tarboy?
Ink spot.
And then when I started seeing you on Facebook, and then I actually met you, I was like, well, he ain't really as dark as I thought he was. But I always thought, all those years ago, like, man, is this nigga super black?
This nigga got to be dark as a motherfucker.
Right, that's what I used to think. All right, so like you kind of spoke about getting your musical business roots in Atlanta. But what we like to do on Live in the Living Room is really talk about the early beginnings all the way up to now. So, when did you discover you had a passion for music?
Well, I got introduced to the actual rap game. When I say that, I mean like going to the studio and recording from my partner named Red. You know what I'm saying? Kevin Black, a friend of mine who got me into it back when we was in high school. He was the first one that I knew that was going to record in studios. And he was going to a studio called French Jam Productions.
French Jam Productions?
Yes, this was back in the day. And the engineer back there was a guy named Steve Blass. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And then the owner was a guy named Fila. Now I'm going to tell you how it all comes full circle. Back then, French Jam Productions had 2 acts signed to them. One was an act called AK and Bam, Odell M, real cool dudes. And another one was called the Baby Gangsters. The Baby Gangsters was Pretty Willie and No Sage. And they was younger people. So I got my first introduction into the actual studio recording was at the facility from the person they was signed to.
Wow.
And the first person I ever seen in my life work some equipment was a guy named Steve Blass. And Steve Blass is responsible for producing songs like Batter Up on Nelly's album. And
Word.
Yeah. So we was like, and that was before any of this, like this was back in like 91, 90, like this is when it all started.
Early.
I really started off as a rapper. I was in a group.
I was sure finna just say.
Yeah, I come from that. You know what I'm saying?
So you was rapping?
Oh yeah, I was in a group called Reality. We was rapping. I was doing stuff with guys named like 40 Grand.
Okay.
He came out with the song Starfish and Coffee from back in the day. Like, and I had my own songs. Me and Red had a group together. We was putting out songs here and there. But during that time frame, I just fell in love with watching other people produce music. So like my thing was, even though I was a rapper, I was like one of them type of kids that always took apart radios and shit.
You took them apart?
Yeah, and put them back together in the day.
So you was just interested
in the tech, like
the
how
tech
shit worked. But when I first seen like, damn, this is how you put music together, or this is how you do this is how you do that, it really made me more intrigued on that side of the fence than it was just rapping. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So when you was taking radios apart, like why? You was just wanting to see how they worked, or was you trying to like manipulate the sound?
Shit,
or
why not? Like, the motherfucker, take this motherfucker apart. Let's see if we put this motherfucker back together if it works.
Right.
I was just curious about how technology always worked.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And then it was like when I seen the first person work a synthesizer, my mind was blown.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Not in the manner of, oh, they sitting in front of a keyboard playing it, how they recorded the beat and then they broke it down, and then how artists came over top of it. And I was like, damn. So the way this works is you layering layers of everything, and it just took my mind completely somewhere else. Like when you meet your passion, you know it. Like you don't, your passion, you know what I'm saying? You don't, let me take that back. Your passion, you don't find it, it finds you.
That's kind of
You gotta see what I'm saying?
Yes,
and that's what happened to me. When it found me, my life was changed from that point on. You know what I'm saying? Everything about me was about like, how am I gonna get this money to buy this keyboard? How am I gonna get this money to buy this drum machine? Damn, I gotta buy this Tascam 8-track to record the vocals. Then it was like, damn, now I gotta buy the ASR 10 drum machine.
Know nothing about no 10.
They don't know nothing about like that.
8-track.
I'm talking way back. They think I'm a fucking dinosaur.
They don't know nothing about no 8. Man, come on, man, listen.
Yeah.
But yo, so you was early in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you was an artist, rapping.
Yep.
And how long did it take for you to transition from like being an artist rapping to getting to the point where you would, produce music?
It was like it never, being an artist never leaves you.
Mm-hmm.
So it never really left me, but it was just like I started making beats that I was rapping over. You gotta see what I'm saying?
Got you.
And like the hardest thing back in the day about becoming a producer was getting the gear.
Man.
Because the gear was so expensive. It's not like now.
Oh my God.
So you don't transfer over into being a producer till you transfer over some fucking money and then get some
for
goddamn
real.
money.
Back in the day,
you know what I'm saying? Back then, like you had to get some money to get that shit.
What? Let's like Korg Triton, Roland Phantom, MPC.
No, let's go before that.
Before that even
and
though.
Sonic 16 plus.
Oh my.
ASR 10.
Oh my God.
Dr. Rhythm Drum Machine. You know what I'm saying? All of those shits is what I started off on.
God
the MPC, that was a fantasy. Like that motherfucker was like that's like having a Bentley back then. Like if you got an MPC, you had a fucking Bentley.
For real.
You know what I'm saying?
I had a Dr. What was it? The
DR660 drum machine, the Dr. Rhythm. I love that motherfucker to this day. Like, to this day, if anybody trying to sell one, please call me. Like, hit me up. I want to buy one. Like, I love those little things and the way they sound. You know what I'm saying? But I just came from that. Then it went from that to me learning about how they record in the studio. Oh, we do the Tascam. And after the Tascam came out, some of y'all don't understand, the youngsters, we went to ADAT tapes, them big VCR tapes and all that. So, like, I just grew with the technology, and as technology grew, it actually fed my need. You kind of see what I'm saying? Like, you can get caught in a circle of creativity when nothing gets bigger. But production always got bigger and better for me. So, like, it just kept feeding what my passion was with that
your
shit.
curiosity to it as well, right?
Yeah.
I get that. Man, I'm glad that you brought up some of them pieces of equipment because I ain't heard some of them names in a long time. But I definitely talk about the ADAT a lot. Like, a motherfucker don't even know when it was a reel-to-reel. Then we went to ADAT.
Man, them big-ass VCR tapes, we had to have book bags lugging them motherfuckers around. And if they got too hot, it fucked up the whole thing. You done. That motherfucker melt, your whole session fucked up, dog. Damn. Like, I remember all that shit, dog. Like, I remember, man, I even remember 2-inch tape reels, bro. When you had to splice them motherfuckers together and cut the tape and tape them together.
I never did that, but I remember.
Like, that's the old shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? 2-inch tape went down to 1/2 inch. And 1/2 inch would be like, and them were like DAT tapes. Like, now your masters just be on, you know, your normal MP3s. But back then, you know, we had to drop them down to 1/2 inch reels or DAT tapes, little bitty digital audio tapes, dog, back then.
And all that shit cost.
What?
Cost.
Man, that shit like...
Because them tapes was like, what? How much was them tapes a piece?
It was like $200 a reel for like 15 minutes.
Man.
For like 15 minutes, bro. Like, and that's that shit... And you leave that shit out in your car if you want to, bro.
Over with,
bro.
Now, like, nowadays, y'all just don't realize how extremely easy all this stuff is. You know what I'm saying? Because now you can just Fruity Loops. You can crack most of these programs.
Yeah, everybody, like, you gotta think, most producers now started off with all cracked VSTs.
Facts.
On Fruity Loops on PC computers. You know what I'm saying? That's what they all started out with. And, like, for a long time, I was anti that. Like, oh, you motherfuckers ain't really making... But then I realized, like, no, this is what they do. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I had to learn to adapt to the newer generation of making beats. And, like, a lot of these motherfuckers is dope as fuck. What they can do with Fruity Loops and all that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Producers and
yeah, like I'm 100% for advancing the culture. And sometimes in advancing the culture, it comes with a lack of understanding of what the new sound and new things are.
Right.
Because when I was coming up, my parents and them were like, what the fuck is you down there doing? Kind of like how I would be with the new producers back in the day, like, how y'all doing this all on a laptop? But now it all makes sense, you know what I'm saying? And it's all art, and there's no wrong art. You see what I'm saying?
I tell people all the time, the art is subjective. I might not like it, but I'm quite sure it's a few people that do, more than a few that like it, if I don't, you know what I'm saying? All right, so we kind of talk about them early days of production, but let's talk a little bit more about it. So it sounds like, did you kind of get into production because it was of necessity? Like you needed the beats to rap over, or was it?
No, I got into production strictly because I am a gear junkie.
Oh. Okay.
Like, I got into it because it found me, and I was like, damn, like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like, you know, in a bad comparison, like a first hit of crack a motherfucker didn't did. You know what I'm saying? That's how it was when I made a fucking beat. It was like, holy shit.
I did that.
What the fuck? You know, I turned nothing into something. That's why I got into production. It was never, I didn't get into it because I thought I was going to be rich. I didn't get into production because I felt like, you know what I'm saying, it's going to get me fame and none of that. I got into it because I loved making music. Never did I think that I would achieve what I achieved off of making music. You know what I'm saying?
It was just the fact of the loving of what you do.
Yeah.
And I feel like for the most part, I see so many people, I've had people ask me over the years, hey, can you teach me how to produce music? Can you teach me how to do this? Can you teach me how to do that? And I say, well, not really, because what is your reasoning for doing it? Well, I want to make money. Oh, I can't teach you how to do it.
I can't teach you how to do that.
I can't.
I can teach you how to work the equipment.
Yeah.
but I can't teach you how to be creative.
That's what I'm saying.
I can teach you if you hit this button, this is what it does. But I can't teach you how to think throughout that hitting that button to hitting this button. I can't teach you that.
Because I mean, like in the early days, it always should be, I just love this. The feeling that it gives me from doing this. Like when I started spinning records, it was the feeling. I don't fucking give a fuck about no money or doing no party for money. None of that.
None
just
of that.
Loved doing this.
Like even today, like a lot of young dudes, you know what I'm saying? Because I teach a couple classes for music production, and a lot of young dudes just come to me and they just like, you know, I tell them, I'm like, if you don't love to do this, they brought production to the forefront so big that the fame, the money, and the lifestyle make you think that's what this is, but it's not that. It's a bunch of hours of listening to sounds, finding out frequencies, understanding how to mix things together, listening to multiple records. Like I had explained to a partner of mine that I don't even hear music the same as y'all. Like when y'all hear a song, y'all hear it all in one layer.
You hear layers.
I hear the layers. I find myself listening to a song and listening, damn, the snare might be loud. Is the kick right in there? Damn, you hear the strings in the background. You hear how they pan the ad-libs to the left. You got like, I don't listen to songs like that. And that's not always good. It's hard to enjoy music when you listen, you're not just listening to the actual what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you're paying attention to all the other things.
Yep.
And I get that problem too, but I try to be like, after a while you've heard so many things, it's like it kind of be the same. But then it's like when I hear something different, I'm like, oh, that's dope. How they paying that? Because
it's refreshing to you.
Yeah, it's refreshing
to you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
So let's talk about forming the Track Boys. I'm sorry, I got a little tongue tied there. Talking about forming the Track Boys and the reasoning for that.
Well, when the Track Boys was first formed, it was me and a guy and the other Track Boy, Joe Kent, right? And it started basically because Joe did the things that I didn't do, meaning like I was cold at drums, hip hop, and all that. He was good at like melodies and piano, so it made sense. And we met through a friend named Sinister that was a part of a group called Abyss.
Okay.
And Abyss, is, if you think back in the day, had that song Catch 22. So that's how we met. And when we formed, it was just perfect at that time for us to be like that. You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, so like on some Neptunes type of shit.
Yeah, and back then, that's how it was. You got to think, forming production teams back then is like the new collaborations. It wasn't no collab, and you formed a team. You know what I'm saying? Like St. Louis was known for that. We had the Track Stars, we had Basement Beats, Track Boy. You know what I'm saying? It was just what we did back then. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
I think that was back in those days. That was just a very popular thing. We had like Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. They was a production team, right? They did a lot of stuff for like Janet Jackson.
You had the Neptune, Jimmy Jam. You had a bunch of bunch of them.
There was only like back in those days a few that was like Teddy Riley who did pretty much the shit itself. But when you go back and look, he had the Neptunes working under him.
And Timberland had a bunch of people under him. Dr. Dre had Scott Storch and all of them. It was just different. You know what I'm saying? Back then.
Yeah, facts. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. We live in the living room with Tarboy Williams today. Make sure y'all go run this episode back on YouTube if you're coming in late. And if y'all got any questions for him, please ask him in the chat and we'll get to him a little bit later. But what you said about like production and sitting through sounds, I think that's a very important thing because a lot of people don't even realize a lot of days when you want to produce something, you might not even touch the keyboard. You might sit there and listen to records all day.
Like I have days like that. Like, plus, not to give away how I do what I do, but I'll give you guys some of the game. When I'm listening to sounds, when I have a sound day or a sample day, I don't make beats that day. So I might just have a whole day where I just gather new sounds, or I just listen through tons of samples, sample certain stuff, save it sounds. The way my brain works, when I'm in a building library phase, it's not necessarily as me being in a creative phase of putting together the actual cake. So I might go ahead and get all my ingredients on one day, put them on the shelf, and I come back the next day and I bake the cake. You guys see what I'm saying?
I feel like that patience helps too with the product and the outcome of the product. You know
like not even that. It's like production for me is done in layers too. So it's like it's not always to where I feel like creating,
Right.
but I feel like listening. You understand what I'm saying? Or I feel like creating, but I don't feel like listening. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Or as you told me, find weird shit. Best advice. That's Rojo Music. They saying that.
What up? That's right. Yeah, that's my dude. Yup.
Yeah. I felt like that's a very good piece of advice. Like find weird shit and figure out a way to make it sound cool. Manipulate it to make.
Yeah, but see, that's the fun part of it.
Yeah.
See, the fun part of it is turning something totally different into something that's more like this. You know what I'm saying? Like nowadays, you got these producers who get these loops off a splice, add drums,
Facts.
and call it that.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I don't like it either.
I'm not mad at you using splice, but make it sound totally different than everything else. Because everybody else can do the same thing you're doing on that.
And I've heard it.
So like, make a part of production is creating, not cloning. It's in between cloning and creating. You can give somebody the same elements and they can create. Or you can give somebody the same elements and they can clone. It's a difference in that. You know what I'm saying? It's a big difference in that.
That was one of the issues that I started running into a lot when I was doing music production before I kind of like started doing this more, was that people would come through and say, I want to record a song. And I say, they give me a YouTube beat. And I say, well, let's do it on one of these original beats. Well, can you make a beat that's like 2 Chainz, like the 2 Chainz?
See, that's like,
No. You want me to clone? Let's create something. What's gonna make you stand out is creating a sound that is unique to you. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be through the vocals and the
But
music
that's what being
production and
an
everything.
artist is.
Yeah.
Real artists, there's nothing wrong with borrowing other people's elements. But it's something wrong with cloning who they are. You know what I'm saying? I got admiration for a ton of other producers that taught me a lot of things. But back in our day, it wasn't cool to sound like nobody else. Back then, you got shunned upon.
for real.
Like, you got shunned upon if you sound like somebody else. So, yeah, you couldn't do that.
Yeah.
But nowadays, it's like the music is trended in the area of you got to sound like somebody else. And I'm just blessed enough that I've put enough music out there that have worked, that I'm one of the people that they've tried to clone. I never had to clone somebody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's elements that I've used of people's music that I was like, oh, that's dope, or this or that. But I never wanted to make my music sound like theirs. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, I definitely get that. And like James said here, the thing, they were chasing sounds rather than creating.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
That was one of the
100% right.
things that I was running into so much with recording artists. Is like, man, come on, like we gotta create your own sound. And I think over the years, I still see some of those artists that I record back in those days, and they now created they're getting it.
But you know what it is? And that's something else. It takes time to come up with your own song. Meaning, even when I started rapping, we was all clones. At first.
Yeah, at first.
At first, you got a clone to
Because
understand.
you kind of start emulating.
You emulate in order to develop your own. But during that emulation period, it's understanding now that you have to know that's what you're doing, and that you got to come up with your own thing that makes you unique. The reason why people don't come up with their own sound to make them unique is because they're scared of not being accepted. And when you're scared of not being accepted, you want to just fit in. And when you just want to fit in, you don't want your homeboy saying, man, that's cool. It ain't, you know what I'm saying? It's a ton of people that told me before it came out that Tipsy would never work. You know what I'm saying? And to be honest with you, I never knew that it was going to blow up that big, but I knew it felt good.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's a ton of people right now that was like, that'll come to me and say, man, Hood Hop is your hardest beat ever. But back when I did Hood Hop, it wasn't nothing that sounded like that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to just put faith in the art and let it go.
Yeah.
You kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah, nah, for real. Like, we was talking about that off camera. Like, music and art is subjective. What one person may like, it doesn't mean you're going to like it, and vice versa. Everybody's taste is different. But, man.
That's why it's so much better now, though. It's so much better now because everybody has a way to get their art out there. Now, do not get me wrong. I believe there's no such thing as wrong art, but it's some bad art.
Yeah.
You got to see what I'm saying? Like, it's some trash out there. You feel what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And the problem now is that the trash sometimes overshadows the good art. And it's hard to cut through all the trash because a lot of times the trash has all the money. So when the trash has all the money to market, it covers up the good art that doesn't have the money.
Yeah.
So all you seeing back to 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 back 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 is trash. Back in the day, we had a better balance. Let's just take hip hop. We had conscious rap that had a bit better balance. We had gangster rap that had a better balance. We had party rap that had a better balance. It was a better balance than it is today. You know what I'm saying?
And you could listen to it all mixed together and it made sense. I talk about that a lot. Like in the 90s, in the early 90s, like 90 to 94 was like one of the best periods for musically on the radio. Because when you listen to it, we had a diverse mix of what we was getting.
Yeah, we could listen to the Fugees. We could go listen to Snoop.
Yeah.
We could go listen to KRS-One. We could still listen to LL Cool J back then.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We even had Will Smith.
I was gonna say
Will Smith. So we
Yeah.
had so many different types of rap that cut through that it wasn't bored down by one specific sound. And that's what made rap music thrive to where it's at today. It was a diversity in the rap. You know what I'm saying?
So now, do you think, with that being said, like, and then the advancements in technology that we had, like, back, you mentioned it earlier, back in the day, you had to have the money to get these pieces of equipment.
Yeah, you get the money, dog.
You know what I'm saying? So now, like, all you got to really do is get a laptop. You get you a decent laptop, and your homeboy can get you some cracked programs, and you can become a producer. Fruity Loops is the thing,
No,
right?
it gets easier than that. Okay, the production is one side, but you still got to get it out to the public. See, nowadays, get you a cracked laptop, get you a laptop, make you a beat. Your partner go ahead and you get you a little rough mix on your thing that didn't cost you no money. Pay $35 for the whole year, go through DistroKid. You can upload all the music you want out there on there. You know what I'm saying? And your music is out. We had to actually go buy the physical CDs. We had to invest in that. You know what I'm saying? Now you can post every day, and yeah, your reach will be a little bound, won't get that far, but if you boost your post a little bit, a couple $dollars here, we had to go buy the posters and the stickers and go hang them up. And we had to hang them up in the middle of the night so when the bus came by, they could see them because they tearing them down by noon the next day. We had to do all that. Like, our street team, right now, a street team is social media.
Yeah, for
You know
real.
what I'm saying? Like what we did was different. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's a totally different beast now. You can just make the flyer, slap it up on Facebook and all your socials, put it in different groups on all the socials. You know what I'm saying?
It was way different. Listen, back then, we had to get our CDs in the store on consignment. So they had to agree to buy like 10 of we'll put 10 of them in the store. Then if they sell, we'll pay you. If they don't, it's what's
you like, get them back.
You get them back. Yeah. It was like, it was just different. I'm not saying it was better, but I understand the value in the product and why back then it was more money being pulled out the music business because the work ethic that was put into it was different.
And not only that, you had something. You had something to give people.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, nowadays everything is digital. We streaming everything. You buy an album, it's just you can't even hold it.
You don't even know it. Your album cover's not there.
No album. You don't got no insert.
People used to bring the album covers to get autographs when they bumped into people. Ain't none of that.
It pisses me off because, like, with games now,
they canceled that, didn't they?
Like, you don't even get a booklet in the game anymore.
But see, you know what that is right there? See, what you got right there is the whole culture of why you like the game. It wasn't just about the game.
Yeah,
it was the cover.
It was about the cover. It was about what's in the book. The book give me some lore. It might give me some game tips, how to do shit in the game.
Then you feel like you got something.
I felt like I got something.
You feel like you got something.
And like, I buy games sometimes digitally, but so many times I want the physical copy because it's like, I want to be able to. You know,
I want my I don't want to spend money.
That's why
all my money's across streaming.
That's why I like my action figures and shit because it might be silly to other people, but it's tangible.
And that means something. That's got to mean something.
And we in a world now
where nothing's tangible.
We could create a line of action figures and sell them online, and people never be able to touch them and play with them. And I bet you people would. Just like those.
That's crazy.
Those one things. What was they? The NFTs.
Like, come on, dog. You done bought all these NFTs, and
They do it with the games. You buy a thing in the game. It's just the costume. You can't touch it. You can't. If $5,
you bought it.
$20 maybe, but you bought it. You never touch it. You don't even hardly see the fucking thing in certain games.
But you got it.
But you got it
In your mind.
and that's the world we live in.
But you got it in your mind.
You said I spent countless hours in Northwest Plaza handing out CDs of beats.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I know, and that's what it was about. And you know what though? That's the part of it that separated the ones who really wanted to do it from the ones who wouldn't. We don't have that wall no more. Meaning that wall of, okay, not gatekeeping, but the wall of the ones who really want to put the effort in between the ones who right now just want to go to the studio, hang out, take some pictures and videos, smoke a couple blunts, record a song, put it on TikTok and go #1, and hey, I'm an artist.
Oh, it wasn't even really on that. Because like, man, listen, the amount of people that do that, like go to the studio just to smoke weed, be looking cool, document it. Remember we was talking about content before we even went live. Content. And they ain't even fucking around, but just because they look the part, they in the environment, now you've built the demand. Oh shit, now let me make some song.
You know what? I think the problem is this. I think that's the problem with music. I think that people are smart enough now that they see through that. And what happens is they like your song, but they ain't into you. So what happens is your song blows up, but that's it, then you're gone and we through with you. We like, when you really become a fan of somebody, I mean a true fan.
Talk about it.
You really are into who they are.
I say
and you know they real, and you know that, and not only is they real to you, they're making music that touches you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the NBA YoungBoy effect.
Man.
Like, NBA YoungBoy is great at creating a culture behind who he is with his music. Am I 100% into NBA YoungBoy's music? No. I didn't come from that generation, but what I am into is his dedication to what he does and who he is. That's important. You know what I'm saying? And NBA YoungBoy is like, I'm gonna say it. It's like the Michael Jackson of their generation.
To them,
they love him, and I understand why. I get it. Like, I actually get it. Like, a lot of people from my generation don't understand it. I get it. You know what I'm saying? I had artists to me that were like that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, everything about this guy relates to the culture of what I represent. I understand why they love NBA.
And see, I like, for y'all that's watching, when y'all be seeing me talk on my reviews and talk about vulnerability and relatability and all those things, you just heard it from him.
Yeah.
It's not just me fucking talking. I'm talking from the place of professional and from the place of a fan. I know what I want because I'm a Wu-Tang fan.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And you know what? This generation won't. But guess what? When Wu-Tang first came out, the generation before you probably didn't understand why you loved them like that. You know what I'm saying? But I do. I understand what Wu-Tang meant for that time frame and that culture. You know what I'm saying? I understand it.
Yeah, they brought something that was like, for me, I love Kung Fu. They had that in their music. They all had different styles because we couldn't bite back then.
You couldn't bite. Even if you was in a group, you couldn't sound. If you're in the same group, you can't sound.
Nobody from Wu sounds the same.
No.
Nobody in the Wu sounds the same.
No.
And it's like 10 of them plus some, and none of them sound the same.
Nope.
Even the subsidiary niggas, like the niggas that just is part, like affiliates, none of them sound the same. And then the music was different.
Way
At
different.
the time when Wu dropped, West Coast was like they was banging shit.
You know the difference was with the Wu, and I say this is the simplest way that I learned the difference between the East and West. And being in the Midwest, we got a lot of them all at one time. And I say this: when the East Coast sampled music, they left it muddy and gritty.
Facts.
When the West Coast, Dr. Dre, he cleaned it up and perfected the sound.
That's facts.
So like,
Ooh, I never even thought about
when
that.
you think about it, see, I'm a producer. I always think about what the difference was.
Yeah.
The difference was when the East Coast sampled, They left it gritty
Fact,
and
yeah.
muddy. And actually, the East Coast way of doing things back then is more relatable to nowadays, the way these youngsters is leaving it non-perfected. And that's what the East Coast music was. And they did it well. When Dr. Dre cleaned something up, he did it well. That's why we were so far on both sides loving what they both did in the Midwest. You know what I'm saying? Because you could give these two sides over here the same sample. Dre gonna do it totally different than that side.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I learned that the West Coast was known for perfect. Dr. Dre was, man, when you heard Dr. Dre mixes, they was big, loud, clear. When you heard the East Coast mixes, you know what I'm saying? Might be Rottweiler in them or Just Blaze in them. They was a little bit more greedy, RZA in them. Like they were just dirtier and grimier.
Yeah.
But the way they related to their culture on each side meant a lot. You know what I'm saying? Meant a whole lot.
Hey, that is an interesting. I never thought about it that way. I could hear that, but I never thought about it that way. And like the cleanliness of how they use these things from coast to coast.
Yeah.
What about the South with that?
Hey, the South to me, what it brought into what the South brought was the glue. I feel like the South brought the most important thing that we've had in hip hop in years. The soulfulness. You kind of see what I'm saying? Like, the South brought, hey, it ain't just two coasts. This is how we are down here. You know what I'm saying? When 8 Ball and MJG, UGK, Scarface. I don't even want to go into one of my favorite groups ever, Outkast. You know what I'm saying? When they started coming with how they came with, you was like, wait a minute. The South down here. Then you had Luke down in Miami. You had it was just like, and wait a minute though.
What's crazy is like all of that sounded different though.
And none of it sounded like now you have a hard time saying, okay, where's this guy from? We knew. We heard an artist. Oh,
Except
from somewhere south.
I feel like except for like the West Coast. Like I feel like but even the West Coast beat makers are getting to a point where it's like you can't tell. But there was a time.
But you know what it is? I can take this back. I think that a lot of beat makers have started biting the West Coast. That's why we can't tell. I think the West Coast had they sound. You know what I'm saying? And we know where trap music was born out of. You know what I'm saying? We know where booty shake music was coming from. We know where that grungy, more lyrical formatted music came from. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I can tell you right now, more of that melodic, fast rap type of music came from like the Twisters and like Do or Die from Chicago back into that. Like I know this because of history of music.
Right.
So I can hear something and basically say, well, that coast might not have started it, but that coast is the one that pushed it out there heavily. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like now it's so many different flavors intertwined with each other. It's hard to pinpoint where an artist is from unless you get on social media and find out where he's from.
Right. Yeah, that's facts. Because it's something, like I said, so many times I listen to like Hit Boy. I think he's a perfect example. He's a West Coast producer, right?
Yeah.
So much of his shit sounds East Coast as fuck. It don't sound like the traditional West Coast production. West Coast production for me is a lot of so how would you describe the Midwest sound?
Yeah, from like that's a great question you asked. And like my problem with the Midwest sound was we didn't have, I don't want to say a sound, we had a Midwest image.
Okay.
And this is what I'm saying. When we first came out in St. Louis, we was known, like for the people who didn't get to travel a lot, we was known as the part of the country that provided the clubs with the party music.
Okay.
And the dances. When we was coming out with the Chicken Heads, the Monasteries, when Nelly and them first came out, Quan, the Chingies, we was known for the partying, feel good music. You know what I'm saying? Which was kind of different for this area because that wasn't really who we was as a people.
Right.
We was more street, more this, but our music was represented more like this. You know what I'm saying? And I think the problem is when that blanket, you know what I'm saying, got put over St. Louis, sometimes it's hard to open up from that blanket when people from other regions expect something from you, a certain way you sound.
Right.
You kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we don't really expect gritty, dirty samples, non-certain things from the West Coast.
Right.
When you off balance what people expect from your coast, it's hard to break through when you from there. Meaning, like, if somebody out of St. Louis has an East Coast kind of sound, kind of don't fit in, it's hard to break from that area when you don't naturally fit into what the fabric is of what they expect that culture to be there.
Right.
You kind of see what I'm saying? Which is completely wrong musically to me, but it's a fact and it's hard to deal with. That's why in St. Louis, when somebody comes with such a different sound out of here, we have such a hard time accepting them if we from here. And I'm not talking about the creators, because the creators always know what they listen to. I'm talking about the average ear. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, that's definitely something that I talk about with a lot of my music friends and colleagues, is that we got kind of put into a box when those sounds blew up from here. And I remember certain things before that. Like, we had a few songs and it was more like street stuff. But then once we got that sound to blow up, it's like they wanted the pop, lock, and drop it sound. They wanted the
rest of the country wants
that.
What you do. That's what made you in that region special to the rest of the world. You know what I'm saying? And it's a hard pill to swallow. You know what I'm saying? It's a hard understanding, especially when the sound that came out your city really isn't who y'all are all the way.
Right.
Or it's only half of what you are. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then when Nelly and Chingy and the sound started blowing up from the city, I was in Indianapolis at the time. And people was like, man, we went down there thinking we was finna have a party. We was finna
And it wasn't
party,
like that.
And motherfuckers done robbed us.
Yeah, they didn't end up at the Pink Slip, or they ended up at Club Casino. It was like, wait a minute, this ain't nothing
this
like
ain't what we thought it was.
the music. Wait, this wasn't.
Yeah.
We expected something totally different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's what I got a lot of. And I was like, yeah, y'all ain't getting the real St. Louis from that sound. Do you think is it any artist that you see that provide what you feel like is really St. Louis sound?
Now, here's something else. What I was talking about then is what the rest of the country
Expects, right?
Nowadays, I don't think that exists.
Okay.
Meaning, I think now it's more acceptable to be different. And I think that's the good thing that's coming back around. When you have artists like Smino coming out that's doing well. You know what I'm saying? You got a bunch of other little younger artists that's really trying to be different coming out. And those are the guys, just for your information, those are the guys I want to work with. Those type of guys. You know what I'm saying?
That are trying to be different.
That are trying to be different. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying ones that are, like, you got made up weirdos. That's what I call them. Like, bro, you ain't even really a weirdo. You just put on an act to that. You ain't special with the shit. None of that. I can read through that. But this guy right here, he really is this, and he really is different. Them the type of dudes I like working with, because I understand that when they catch fire, they blow. They start trends throughout the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can get somebody that's got a dope song. Oh, that's gonna be cool. But I'm talking about building careers.
Right.
You can have a dope song today, and you could be out of here and broke 2 years from now, and your song was #1 back then.
That's facts.
You kind of see what I'm saying? The key to it is being able to build a real fan base. I'd rather have 100 loyal fans than 1 million people that just liked something real quick. Because them 100 loyal fans is going to buy my T-shirt. They're going to come to every show. They're going to do everything I need them to do for however long, and they really with me. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing that we have really missed in the rap culture. Because we've always been a culture of hip-hop has been, what's new? What's the hottest thing out? So we'll jump from new, and throw the other stuff back to the back and go on. Whereas rock music and country music, ain't no such thing as old. They'll sell out a concert. They fans will come until they die.
Nah, for real.
You know what I'm saying?
For
and
real.
at them concerts, they don't have no ego. They gonna buy the T-shirt, the poster, the beer mug. They gonna buy the hat.
Nah,
they gonna
for real.
buy the whole experience
They gonna buy
while they there.
backstage passes,
They're gonna
the
do
meet and
all
greet.
that. They
want the stuff signed. Yeah, exactly.
They're gonna do all that. But it's like in the hip hop culture, it ain't cool to stick with somebody so long. Because everything in the hip hop is what's new, what's fashionable. Since we've been known all this time to set the trends. So when you setting trends, it's okay, that's old, what's new, this new shoe, this the new out, this the new stuff, this. And what you're doing is you're washing your culture to the side. We the only culture that'll say something about how old is somebody. The other cultures don't care about that. They could care less.
I feel like the damn near the only person we don't is Snoop Dogg. Like, other than that, it's like, well, how old is it? There's something to say about it. You know what I'm saying? So do you think the producer nowadays has gotten lazy?
Nah, I don't think the producer has gotten lazy. I think the industry has gotten lazy. I think the whole music industry has just gotten lazy from the point in times that A&Rs ain't coming to see nobody and really see. They looking at your numbers online.
Yeah.
I remember when A&Rs flew into town, went and seen your following for real and seen the culture. Your numbers online really can be misconstrued about how you could have somebody that could have 5,000 followers, but you go to their show and they can get 300 people out of every show to really follow them. Then you can have somebody that's got 20,000 followers that can't get 50 people to come to their show.
That's facts.
So it's really a misconception of who and what. Everything done got lazy. The world done got lazy. Everything we do in the world's got lazy, from DoorDash all the way down.
Yeah.
Everything done got lazy.
Yeah, but we got so much technology. You know what I'm saying? We got so much technology now that it's dumbed us down in a way too. Like, you don't have to research shit no more. You can just get online and look it up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's right. All the info right there.
It's lazy because of how you receive music has transformed. A gang of things, I feel like, Sugar Grits, and from how you know what I'm saying, receive music to just everything. Like, we talk about physical merchandise.
Let me give you an example. And I said this in one of my little things on IG. Back in the day, $13 got you one CD. Today, $9 a month gets you every piece of music that was ever put out.
Yeah.
So when you spoil the world like that, you know what I'm saying? When you spoil the whole world like that, everything gets dumbed down. You kind of see what I'm saying? Like, it's the way the world is now. You know what I'm saying? Is the world lazy? Yes, think about this. Before, if I wanted to go buy something, I went in the store, looked at it, picked it up, thought about it. Now I just get on Amazon, that shit there tomorrow.
And if you don't like it, free returns.
Like, that's late. Man, there's people that live their whole life now without leaving their house.
Nah,
like,
for real.
You could go to work from your house, order your food, order anything you need, like, and you never have to leave. The world has gotten lazy.
And I feel like COVID only made it worse.
Yes,
COVID was already doing that before.
No, COVID introduced how much the rest of the world wasn't needed. Like, how much you could isolate yourself and still fully live. That was the problem with COVID. It showed people they could do that. You know what I'm saying? It really showed it. Man, I can make all my money from my house, sit here behind this keyboard, have my food delivered. I don't have to do this. I don't have to be... Like, it really showed people, to me, how much human interaction they didn't need to have to survive, which I feel like was wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's crazy right there. All right. So, we done talked about a lot so far, but we got some more to talk about. I want to know, back in the early days, let's go back a little bit. Who was some of the inspirations back then?
You mean from...
For production, for songwriting, lyrics, anything?
Jermaine Dupri, definitely inspiration. Timberland, Pharrell, Dr. Dre's, Teddy Riley. Let me see who else. Quincy Jones for me.
Everybody we named earlier. Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones was big for me.
I feel like if you...
Organized Noise was huge for me. Rest in peace, Rico Wade. Like, huge for me. Like, Organized Noise was a big factor to me. All those... something else y'all don't know. Beats by the Pound. It was just, like, back then, producers was just... You know what I'm saying? Just different. Like, I knew when I heard a song who did it. Like, I'm like, so-and-so did that. I knew, it was just a different type of culture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To be a producer, you really wore a badge and you was proud of that, because that was a fraternity everybody couldn't do. You know what I'm saying? It was
Right.
something that everybody wasn't privy to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it is now. You know
It
what I'm
was
saying?
like, you had inside trade secrets and shit that
Yeah,
now
you-
people just give away on YouTube and
Yeah,
shit.
you can go on YouTube and learn everything you need to learn.
Yeah.
But you still gotta take time to go on YouTube.
And you still got to take time to actually do it. Like,
Yeah.
just because you go watch it don't mean you're going to be able to even emulate it. And then after emulate it, again, like we were saying earlier, how do you make it your own? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then what it was with me as time went on, I learned that being a producer, my actual career was controlled. That's what got me into more of learning about the business. See, here's how producers run today. Y'all make 1 million beats. I was the same as y'all. Send them out to 1 million people, and you pray for a placement, and you pray they give you credit, and you pray that your business is right. You know what I'm saying? So the whole thing that you're doing along that path is really not controlling your career. You have to make the music, then you have to worry about whether or not the artist is going to put your song out, then you're going to worry about if they market it, then you got to chase the money. When you learn to market yourself, see, I learned during that path, the most important thing in my career that ever happened to me was learning that the marketing is what made me. Now, I can make good music and all that, but the money that was put into the songs that I produced is why they went #1 or went to the Billboard. It wasn't just me sitting down there making it.
Right.
It was a bunch of moving parts. So during that time period, I learned more about the marketing, because I learned that if I know how to market and I know how to promote the right way, and I had these relationships in radio, and I had these relationships with these digital ad agencies or whatever, and all these guys, then I can control my own fate more
Right.
than I can just sitting down there praying that somebody likes my beats. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know
See,
exactly
the more knowledge you get into this, it's like you take the red or blue pill. It starts to change your thought process regarding it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you still make music that you love, but now you know how to get the music you love out more and easier. And it's, to be honest with you, it's a lot less stressful of being accepted or caring if you're accepted or not.
Because you in that position of controlling everything.
Like, if somebody's gonna tell me no, that they don't like records or they don't like music, let's make it be the masses. Let's not make it this dude sitting behind this desk that ain't in the culture. Let's give it to the masses and let's let them say
decide.
no. I can accept the world not liking it, but I can't accept you not liking it and you not putting it out because you don't like it.
Right.
When you don't come from that.
Right.
That's what's not acceptable to me. And I've seen it so many times with records, and I'm just not talking about my own, just in general, that it made me start learning about how it really works.
So what do you think there's a defining moment that flipped that switch and made you get on this path of like learning more about the business, taking control of who you are as an artist through production? Like,
Well,
what was the-
yeah, when I
what was the
went
switch?
to when I went to Atlanta,
Okay.
and I was blessed enough with my story down in Atlanta that I had, like, I was just so mentally fucked up into the music game. I want to say, meaning like it assumed so much of me, consumed so much of me that it was when I was going to school, it was a lawyer. He was like, "Hey, look, I'm gonna do you a big one." He's like, "If you," and he was one of my teachers down there. During that time, we had like, we just didn't learn about the equipment. You learned about the business too.
Right, exactly.
So like, he was like, "Look, if you just sit back and be quiet, I would allow you to come to these breakfasts I have in the morning time, but you got to get up Saturday morning at about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. You can meet us all at this breakfast spot." So I would go to the breakfast spot and sit in the back, where I'd sit there where I could hear their conversations with the lawyers, but I'm not going to call out no names. Heads of record labels, other lawyers, all this. Like, it was the best. It opened my eyes to how the music business really worked, because I got up at 7 o'clock in the morning and went to some of these breakfasts and just sat in the back and listened.
See,
And I learned how the wheels really turned at that moment.
initiative. He got his ass up. Did you want to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning? at that age? Did you want to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and do that? Did you want to?
Yes, I may be
no, you wanted to do it because you did it.
I would have rather have been at 2 p.m.
Right.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
2 p.m. But no, I didn't. Nobody wants to get up at fucking 7 o'clock in the morning. No. But my hunger for that over accomplished all that.
Right.
And that's why I judge a lot of people on that. What does your hunger tell you over what your actions will do?
Facts.
It says it all to me. Like, okay, this person always got an excuse. It's always this or this. Like, for example, when I hear people say, you know, I got family, man, or, you know, I got a job and all that and this, and I, you know what I tell them? You ain't built for this. And they look at me like, what you mean? You ain't? Everybody that I know had them same fucking things going on, and we put it in. Okay, it's how many hours in a day? Okay, it's 24. Well, guess fucking what? I gotta spend 24 hours on this shit today. I just don't fucking sleep.
I wish I met a motherfucker like you when I was back in the days, because I was working a job and I met a person who had a record company, you know, and this is early 2000s, and we had exchange numbers and everything, and I was talking to them about, you know, whatever, I'm trying to get my work out here, and they mentioned me having a job, and I was like, what the fuck does that matter if I got a job if I'm willing to work? Like, it don't matter.
It doesn't matter.
We gotta live, but you gotta put in the extra time. Like,
I can like what he's saying is 100% right, and this is what I don't care how good you are at this shit. You could be terrible today, or you could be great at it today. Never let a motherfucker outwork you, in your passion.
You can't.
Never let a motherfucker listen. You could be the worst person today. In 3 years from now, you could be the best at your craft if you outwork a motherfucker.
He ain't lying.
All them excuses don't matter. All the other shit don't matter. Never let somebody outwork you.
It's been so many people along my journey that are not doing none of this shit no more.
Yeah.
And I just constantly working. Behind the scenes, he was telling me, he was like, man, I'm here because you working. You consistent. I like what you doing.
Man, I don't care. Listen. If this live has 3 people or 3,000, fucking doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to me. You know what I'm saying? Because as long as the people who get in on the live get the information.
That's right.
You kind of see what I'm saying? And you being who you are and you trying and me seeing day to day your grind is why I came.
I appreciate that.
You know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with, oh, I'm good friends with him or a friend of friends said this or none of that. It was just like, I seen you. And the reason why I seen you is because you stayed consistent at it. I was like, man, who is this dude to keep on? Damn, this dude keep on. Then I met you, I was like, oh, bet. He keep up. Man, yeah, I'm getting on your show, though.
Yeah,
I don't even care what your followers are, none of that. I'm on your show, bro.
Like I said, first time I met him, and that was just a few months ago, we met, and it was like, he was happy to meet me like I was happy to meet him. And then we sat there and talked for like 15, 20 minutes. And it was like, we knew each other for a long time. I never met him. But it was just like, he fucks with what I do. And of course, you know what I'm saying? Legendary in the city. I fuck with the work. But for so long, I ain't even think you seen what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? But it let me know. And I say this all the time in my reviews. And I talk about them all the time. You never know he's going to pop in that chat, see you, you know what I'm saying, hear your song. And now he here right here today. You never know who watching. You never know who listening.
I'm going to tell you something else. The real people who've been through it, that's got a good heart, that understand the business, oh, they listening and they watching. Trust me. And now it's easier for them to listen and watch because they can listen and watch without you knowing they listening and watching.
That's facts.
So you never know.
You never know
who listening to your shit. You never know who's seeing your shit. But guess what? If you don't put it out there and you don't put yourself out there and you don't stay dedicated, we can't even see you.
At all.
They can't even see me. I'm learning so much just by this new algorithm and how things go. You gotta continue to work. You know what I'm saying?
What's going on, Cookie Biscuits? Yeah, you gotta continue to work. Like, even if, like, just when I was working full time, I was coming home every day, doing this shit every day, playing the music from people that I was finding. I was sourcing the music myself. Wasn't nobody sending me the music. Now it's people sending me the music.
Before he finding it and putting it out there himself.
I'm finding the music, putting it out. You know what I'm saying? all those things that I had to do for this shit to work, however we could do it. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that follow, Cookie Biscuit. Oh, you was hearing that. That's what you was hearing. Because they had followed me, so you heard a little sound. Yeah, that's all that was.
I'm like, what?
He's like, what's that noise? But yeah, so like absolutely what he's saying is just true. Y'all gotta work. Regardless of who's watching. Like when I did work a job, we had this big ass banner, right? Mm-hmm. And it said something like along the lines of do it right even when nobody's watching. Because we was big on quality control. I was working in plastic manufacturing. Mm-hmm. Couldn't have bubbles in the bottle or the baby bottle and that. So that was a big thing. Like I see that every day when I go in. I was like, damn, that's real shit. You gotta do this. You gotta do this shit like.
Yeah, but they wanted you to do that for slavery.
Well, but you know, one thing.
But if you do it for yourself, that's a different.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, bro, you want to hear something crazy?
Of course, the crazier the better.
My job asked me. My plant manager said, "Hey, Ollie, do you plan on staying here for the long haul?" And I said, "Nah." I said, as soon as I get an opportunity to do this content streaming stuff full time, I'm out of here. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was like, because I look at it like y'all could have been trained me to do some of this shit.
Yeah.
Y'all could have been gave me some more money. And flat out told him. A day later, Sugar Grits calls me while I'm at work and says, well, I'm going back to work. You can put in your 2-week notice. And I told him. And he was like, damn, did I I was like, nah, I just told you. Mm-hmm. When I get a job, when I get an opportunity, I'm out. But what I learned from these jobs is, regardless of it is slavery. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel about it. But what I learned from them is work ethic for yourself. And then mantras like that, you utilize them for yourself and put it into your own shit that you trying to do.
A lot of times when you go work a job, what you're doing is you are piecing somebody else's dream.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
You are.
And I'm not saying working a job you shouldn't do that because you got to survive. Mm-hmm. But you really, like, if you got a passion for something, like, I couldn't leave this earth without knowing, period, that I gave my all into my passion.
Right.
That was just me.
Right.
So any risk that came with that, I took it. That was just me. Mm-hmm. You kind of see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I gave it my all, and I put the faith in the higher power to say, this is what I'm gonna do.
Right.
And I guess he blessed me, and it worked out for me. You know what I'm saying? But I was always the person that would learn more. And that's what I'm more thankful for than anything else, was that I had the knowledge to know that I didn't know nothing. And when I didn't know nothing, I had the knowledge of learning and getting the information that helped me better how far I could go.
What he said right there, because it's hard for me to listen to somebody who knows the same things as me, but if they know something I don't know, I'm tuned in. Like because I'm not afraid to learn. A lot of y'all be thinking y'all know every fucking thing.
And y'all don't.
And
that's one of the things I did. When I came in here, I said, man, bro, you want to show me all this.
Right.
I said,
right.
I want to learn all this, bro.
But you also a tech geek. Low, you know what I'm saying? Like, the more and more I talk to music producers and a whole bunch of quote-unquote street niggas that come into the living room, man, we all fucking nerds in some way or another.
Oh, flat out, dog.
Whether it's because of, we nerds of sound, we nerds of words, we nerds of
something
tech.
It's just, I'm looking at this little cup holder Metroid he got from, y'all don't know this old from Nintendo 64.
No, that's
no,
Nintendo.
No, this ain't the 64, this is the original Nintendo.
Yeah, that's the Nintendo.
Where we used to blow these and put them in our machine to get back working. I remember all those, bro. I remember... me just being around here took me through my childhood. And
that's another thing that I love when y'all come through.
Yeah, I remember these things.
The nostalgicness of all this. You know what I'm saying? When you see it in the living room. So
yeah, dog.
I appreciate that. My job is being fulfilled when I do these things. So now you did you go immediately to Atlanta after high school?
No,
was it a while?
I spent a lot of time just making beats, staying local, doing different things, you know what I'm saying? Going to Flow Valley Community College thinking that's the way, but at the same time, I'm really putting more emphasis into my music than I'm doing everything else. You know what I'm saying? Then when I learned that schools existed
for that
music, I was like, holy
Yeah. Let me go there.
Let me get this all together and get out and get
Yeah,
you.
because that's how I was when I learned there was a such thing as Full Sail. I was like, what?
Full Sail was the first one I learned about.
Yeah.
But Full Sail was in Florida. When I learned it was one in Atlanta, like something like in Atlanta, I was like, wait a minute, I'm going to Atlanta and this is here?
Yeah, and you went to Atlanta what year?
That was like 95, 96.
Atlanta was a fucking mecca for black folks at that time.
Yeah, it was real, bro.
I remember I went to a fucking a family reunion with my black family that year, and one of our cousins was like, yeah, I'm finna go to college in Atlanta. It's like I'm finna be an entrepreneur, and he was and that's when I started looking at Atlanta.
Man, Atlanta, I was in there the horse Freakniks and shit, bro.
And then that started being
all
the
that
thing.
shit,
and then the music from Atlanta started popping.
It was all that. It was just like back then. If you got to Atlanta, I'm gonna tell you who was the big dogs in Atlanta back then. You're looking at So Def, and you're looking at LaFace Records.
Facts, nah, for real.
You're looking at all that, and that was when Atlanta, when L.A. Reid took L.A. Reid took the music business to Atlanta. When that popped up there, and that was the real business, dog, Atlanta started jumping, bro. They started jumping,
He said
bro.
that word. He took that business to Atlanta.
Yeah, he took the business to Atlanta, dog.
Hey, that's the thing. You got to have the business in the city.
Yeah.
So, you went to Atlanta. You was down there for
two and a half, 3 years.
Okay. And then what, you came back?
Yeah, then I came back.
All right.
And when I came back, it was like refreshing to me. Because back then Atlanta was so big and it was so like I learned a lot from Atlanta. But I really couldn't exercise what I learned because it was too big for my position. Like, who am I in this motherfucker?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What do I really bring?
Right.
The knowledge I really bring and the skill trait I really bring needed a small, like when I got back here, it was like golden.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What I knew was like golden. You know what I'm saying? So like I started doing different things and looking at the business different that helped me grow into what I am now. Like even with when I got up with different people like Abyss and them and the people, Big Mark, God bless his soul, and Big Nail in them, and we had Ragdial and we signed Abyss and we got our first deal at Atlantic. It was a lot I knew that I could bring to the table from there, not just being a producer, that made me an owner and all that too. Right. You kind of see what I'm saying? That made a lot of things move differently. I stopped looking at the music business as a dream and I started looking at it as work and a job. Because what I learned down there was, also I was down there, I got to do an internship from a distribution company called Uni. Back then, Uni Distribution was Universal. And that was the distribution end of the music business. For the youngsters who don't understand, it would be your distro kids and all those type of things now. But the difference was we had hard copy CDs, so that shit had to be shipped out. When I first got my internship at Uni, I was like, first day I never forget, I'm finna be in the office with the big dogs. Man, I'm in a warehouse packing fucking CDs, bro. Ain't no big dogs around. Them motherfuckers all in LA and all that shit. I'm on the distribution end. I'm not meeting Tupac and all them. I'm packing Death Row CDs in a fucking box, bro, to be shipped out to these record stores.
I'm packing Tupac CDs.
And what I learned at that point is, it's an everyday person that's not famous, that nobody knows, that's making the wheels spin. When I seen that made clarity that this is not a dream, that if you work and you figure out all this stuff, it's about doing a job instead of just praying and wishing to make it.
Right.
It put a human element on it when I seen that. So when I came back to St. Louis, I understood that human element.
You understood the reality
I understood the reality of it. And I understood the work that had to be done to move forward. Right. So with that knowledge and the right team people that I started building with, it helped spire my career up. You know what I'm saying? But I had to learn that if you don't end up at Z, you go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And that's the way the music business is today. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these people look at it like St. Louis, like, oh man, I need somebody to help me. I need somebody to do this. No, you need somebody to teach you. You need somebody to teach you what's next. Then after they learn that, what's next after that? Then what's next after that? then the puzzle starts to become clearer to you. You kind of see what I'm saying?
And I ain't gonna lie to you, I meet so many talented artists. I listen to so many. You know, I do my music reviews, and I hear a lot of talents from the city. I question all the time, like, what is it? Why ain't we like other places? We gonna get to that in a minute. But so many artists that I listen to, they're like, I got this shit, but I don't know what to do with it.
I don't understand it.
I don't understand who should I be talking to, especially in this city, because we don't really have the industry.
Not even just that. It's like coming up, I see the mistakes that the ones who made it made. And the mistakes we made wasn't about putting no fucking body on. That had nothing to do with it. It had to do about teaching the people what to do to get on. You know what I'm saying? Because what people never understood, a motherfucker can't put you on. All a motherfucker can do is put different opportunities in front of you. The fans put you on, bro.
Yeah, facts.
You got a million people that got signed that came out that the fans never liked they shit, and none of that. Like, nobody puts you on. So that whole mindset of, oh, this man put me on. No, this man gave you an opportunity to exploit yourself to the fans, and the fans put your ass on.
Yeah.
And guess what now? You don't need that person to exploit you.
No.
You got to learn how to exploit yourself.
Right.
And the same fans can put you so-called on.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I'm
why
saying?
so many of the artists, like we was talking about, like, you know, the so-called weirdos or whatever, they've learned how to exploit themselves.
They have.
I feel like Doja Cat is a prime example. She learned how to expose herself, and look at her now. Like, I don't listen to that shit, but every time she got a show,
But
that
Doja
shit,
Cat, I can't say that, because Doja Cat has some big people behind her.
she has some big people.
But they exploit her.
I just remember her. Like,
But here's what you don't understand.
Bitch, I'm a cow.
For every big name artist that people claim that is talented, I promise you there's another 50 that was just as talented as her that y'all never heard from.
Oh yeah.
That y'all never heard from.
Yeah.
You gotta see what I'm saying?
I know that
and that's
for
the
a
way
fact.
and that's just the ins and outs of the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about this. We all like the Jordan shoe. But how do we know some of them preliminary sketches of the Jordan that they was trying to come up with
Ain't better.
ain't better than what
actually what we
so
did.
it might be something back from when Jordan first came. We was like, damn, that shoe was dope. But somebody vetoed this shit before it got there to where it ain't better. You gotta see what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know that they testing thousands of different McDonald's hamburgers right now, all the time. Different type of McDonald's hamburgers are always being tested, but we don't never get them.
They just being tested.
They just being tested, bro. I never knew that. So
Like
I got
what,
the
like
information.
different ingredients or actual
Just
different
all
parts?
that.
All that.
Everything you're talking about, from ingredients to the type of hamburgers. Like, how did we get to McRib? How many different tests went through to get to McRib to be? How come they took away this McDonald's? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I never
The
knew
big
that
and
it's
tasty or
that
whatever,
many
yeah.
fucking different type of McDonald's hamburgers that are constantly being all over the world. Like I never knew that, but we only still get this same fucking Big Mac.
Yeah.
A quarter pounder. You
Because
know what I'm
you go
saying?
over there to like the UK and they got a Big Mac with an egg on that bitch.
They were talking about something. I can't remember. I was seeing it. And they were talking about they put out one sandwich and it turned it made McDonald's a different fucking image. So they just took it off the fucking menu.
What?
It made it more of a gourmet like restaurant instead of fucking a fast food. So they're like, get that shit off the menu.
Oh.
Like shit like that, dog.
I feel like that's the big and tasty or something.
It might be something
You know, like lettuce and tomatoes, it
all
look
that.
like something like.
Dog, they like,
you go
dog, we
sit
here
down
to sell these fucking nuggets and
and
these
these
cheeseburgers, bro. And that's fucking
and
it,
get
bro.
them the fuck out of
And
here.
get these motherfuckers up out of. Take that big and fucking tasty that look like they should be eating in here dining off our fucking menu. That's when you know your brand. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's, you gotta know your brand.
Yeah.
You gotta fucking know your brand. All right, so after leaving Atlanta, you learned a lot of things. You brought them back to the Lou. Is that when you formed Track Boys?
I formed, during that time period. Track Boys formed during the time period of when we formed Abyss.
Okay.
When the group got formed during that time.
Okay, Abyss. And you said something about Ragdoll.
We had a company called Ragdoll Music Group back
Okay.
then. And if you look it up, we had a label deal with Atlantic. They gave us $1 million for Abyss back when we had a song called Catch 22 out. And it was a whole team. You know what I'm saying? Guy named Mark, guy named Nail, me, Joe, Sinister, Escalating Goblin. Sinister, Escalating Goblin made up Abyss. Me and Joe made up the Track Boys. Mark and Neil was the execs. You know what I'm saying? With the help of me being, you know what I'm saying? They wasn't even in the music business. Like, they met me and decided, you know, hey, let's
do this.
Yes, and I'm blessed for that because they got behind my dream. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they were the business heads along with me. They learned a lot from me, but I learned a lot from them too. You know what I'm saying? During that time period.
Right.
And then I knew of a lawyer in Atlanta that we connected with. They made it happen. I was like, hey dog, we can get with this lawyer and this law firm. We can make something happen. They made the meeting happen.
So entertainment lawyer.
Yes, and he was powerful. I knew about him because I had lived down in Atlanta.
Right.
So I was able to give them the information
so
and they were able to go and make the meeting actually happen.
That's very important still, too.
Yeah.
That's one of the most important steps, regardless of how much the business has changed, because the business has changed quite tremendously over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
But the lawyer part is one thing that remains the same. You listen to documentaries of a lot of different people. Master P is the most important one. I think he said he needed like $50,000 for 15 minutes worth of Michael Jackson's entertainment lawyer's time.
But see, I knew we was on to something when we went and visited the lawyer and he was like, I'm not charging you. I knew then, from where I came from and those meetings before, I'm not charging y'all. I think y'all got something. See, back then when you came through the door with a group and a production team and all that, that was cha-ching to the lawyer.
Yeah.
The lawyer was like, I can make this happen. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's what really got us in position. And then Mark, and I say God bless his soul because he did a lot. Mark and Nail was able to make the right radio connections in St. Louis back then to get our song on the air. And back then, if you got your song on the air, that was it. Like that was the main steps. Bro.
And the Catch-22 was the song.
Yeah, it was back then. It was like for the people that know who came out back, they'll tell you that,
Yeah, I hear
damned
about
if you
that.
do, damned if you don't.
I hear
all
about that song
like,
a lot.
Yeah, that was the first. You know what I'm saying? That was the first song. That wasn't the first song I had on the air. Me and my partner Dirty Red, we had a song on the air before that. You know what I'm saying? But it was called So Much Lovin', where I sampled Marvin Gaye. That was back in the day. And it was just played. I think it was like Sunday nights or something, maybe Friday or Sunday. One of them local shows. But that Catch-22 and wait a minute, it was Attorney Hush and Hush, like with the group Attorney was like songs when I first had in rotation on the radio in St. Louis.
Got you.
And Hush was by R&B group.
We talking about magic days, ain't we?
Man, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was, dog. And now think about this. Now all radio AI.
Yeah, it's crazy. Ain't nobody even running this shit no more.
No, that's shit crazy, dog.
Yeah, it's crazy. And for a while, before even AI took over, it was playlists for the most part. That's why you started getting the same things over and over and over again, because it's just a rotation playlist.
Yep.
So y'all got with the entertainment lawyer, y'all got the Catch-22 going, and y'all had Ragdoll and everything like that. Track Boys came after that.
Track Boys came during that.
Right.
Track Boys was a part of that.
And so the Track Boys is just production team part of that.
And the thing that really spun the Track Boys ahead of that was within the deal that we had with Atlantic. Atlantic had a separate deal with us that was called a song deal. And with a song deal in tunes, and this is some information for you upcoming producers. Let's say if we charge him, I'm just gonna give you a number because we weren't charging back then. But let's just say you charge him $10,000 a track. A record company would come to you and say, "Hey, we're gonna give you $70,000 for 10 tracks up front. So we want it for $7,000 a track. We're gonna give you all the money up front." So they did a song deal with Ragdoll, contingent on the Track Boys, just us producers. And in that song deal, came out of there was a song called Nappy Roots Po Folks. Because Po Folk, Nappy Roots was on Atlantic. So they sent them down to St. Louis to work with us. I worked with them. We did the song, blah, 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 all that, and the song blew.
That was a big song.
And then in between that song blowing, the Lunatics came, Ali, you know what I'm saying? Heard some beats we had gave them on CD, and then Air Force Ones was recorded. So it was like bam, bam, bam. You know what I'm saying? All during the same time frame. Now, during that time frame, a guy by the name of, this is all in a matter of about 2 years. A guy by the name of Matter of Myth Hits, because God bless his soul too, my manager Jeremy Geffen. He had gave Myth Hits a CD of our beats. Myth Hits was like, I gotta meet these guys. So Myth Hits was like, hey, I got a little project I'm working on that L.A. Reid needed me to finish up. And he said, L.A. Reid only gave me 3 songs I can do on this because I'm a new guy. I'm just in a closet. He basically said I was in a closet over here at Arista and LaFace, and L.A. said I can do 3 songs, so I'm calling y'all to do 2, and I already got this other one done. Now, the group that he was allowed to do that on was the Youngbloods. We did 2 songs on them that was on their album. One ended up on a soundtrack for one of the Ice Cube movies, and another one just ended up on their album. It was with Killer Mike. The other song that Memphis brought to the table was Damn by Little John. So his 3 songs as an A&R was Damn, and then he did Us. So they gave him a small budget, and Damn became probably the Youngbloods' biggest song.
Right.
You kind of see what I'm saying? But during that time frame, me and Memphis got a great relationship. Now, before that, like I told you, I was working with a group called Eternity. During that time frame, they was being managed by a guy named BD.
Okay.
BD had a little guy that he was working with, that he was trying to develop, named Jay Quan. So he brought Quan to me, and then my relationship with Myth Hits at Arista is how all that meshed together.
Wow.
See, it's always an answer, and it's always a paper trail. You see what I'm saying?
And then right there, y'all, is something that I be talking about a lot, like the importance of relationships. He was building these relationships over all these years and used these to connect the puzzle pieces together to get this shit accomplished. I be telling y'all all this shit he telling y'all.
No, Roger, no. Triple X was during Ebony's time. This was before Ebony. I understand what you're saying. Ice Cube had another movie out I cannot think about. It was about cars, but it wasn't Triple X. It wasn't Triple X Part 2. I remember that was Ice Cube did that too, but no, that wasn't. That wasn't same. It was something before that.
Okay.
But like everything connects through time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like no matter what anybody believes in this music business, it's like steps in it. To build people's careers. It just doesn't happen overnight, even though it might seem like that.
It.
Like, and the artist might be overnight, but the people who were involved with the artist, they weren't overnight. If you ever want to get in this music business, and I'm going to give y'all some game, stop reaching out to the artist. Do the roots. Find out who's managing them. Who's the assistant of that manager? Who's that? Wait a minute, that person, and the artist I can't get in touch with, but this person is returning my calls. Develop a relationship with them. They the one to make the wheels go. Like any new producer coming up, if you want to get beats to an artist, find out who the artist engineer is. He the one that's in the studio with them all the time. Who do you think, if he hear a whole hard beat, who gonna play it for him?
That's facts. Listen to this one somebody sent me. He gonna listen to it because it's his engineer. That's and
his engineer know him better than anybody else.
That's the gem, y'all. Hey, plenty of gems been dropped in this time, y'all. Y'all better be picking these motherfucking jewels up. All right, so look. Who are some artists you'd like to work with, if any? I know you work with a multitude of artists. Well,
like with me, I'm at the point in time in my career, the artists I like to work with now are artists that aren't on. I just want to keep bumping into young, more creative talent. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like doing the same thing again. So when people come to me, man, I need a beat like Tipsy Hood, I don't want to deal with you, dog. Let's remix, I don't want to deal with you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to know the mindset of the person, even though the remix to Tipsy is probably the biggest song that ever I was a part of with Shabuzi. But at the same time, the music I make, like in L.A. Reid said it best, the music you make to feed your family is not necessarily the same music you make to feed your soul. So like when I'm doing different stuff, I want to evolve into bigger and better things, dog.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And L.A. Reid, I think, is the one who said that first, bro. The music you make to feed your family ain't necessarily the music you make to feed your soul.
That's real. Like, damn, that's a real one right there. Because that kind of goes into what we were talking about earlier, though, too. Like, we was talking behind the scenes. You was like, you should have just let them do what they was doing, but and we was talking about while we was live, producing music that is a clone of other things.
Yeah.
So the music that feeds your family is that.
But the music that feeds my soul
is this.
Might not from y'all. It might not even be hip hop.
This Coltrane sample.
Yeah, that I'm listening to every day when I really wanna
trying to figure out how to make this motherfucker.
Yeah, I might be a fan of something you guys have no idea about. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, facts. Like people be like, they'll send me music and it'll be like rock. And they'd be like, man, I know it ain't hip hop and rap and this, that, and other, but I hope you like. I'm like, man, I listen to fucking Led Zeppelin.
Let me give you an
shit,
example,
bro.
Like back in the
Jimi
day,
Hendrix,
Red and Steve Blass. Them were the first people I was introduced to on music production. But that wasn't the first people I was introduced in the music business. Okay. My cousin's a drummer for Kid Rock, so she was always drumming and stuff before that.
Your cousin?
That's
wow.
Yeah, that's
what.
So I always knew she did that, but that was his cousin. She from Cleveland, so it was like, okay, that's just my cousin. I know she. This is before Kid Rock, any of that. So it was like to me, you just play the drums.
Way before
you just play the drums. So I'm like, that ain't too interesting to me. But then when I seen go to the studio with Dirty Red and I seen what Steve Blass was doing, what she was doing, I started looking at more. Like, oh, she got the drum machine. She understands.
Right.
And that also added more to the spark of me wanting to be like, I gotta do this music shit though. Like this, I got it. Like this something different.
Man, damn. See, I love these interviews because I would never even knew that.
Yep.
That's crazy. Kid Rock, I used to like Kid Rock a lot.
I used to like him a lot too. I don't know about Then we're here now.
Then people start saying, they start revealing who they really are.
Yeah.
Remember?
But you forgot when you came from hip hop. That's who we was. Back then you came from hip hop. You mixing the scratch and all that. But now we forget about all that part for some reason. And
I love them. Man, that's crazy because I love that era of like that rock and hip hop collab. Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit.
When Run DMC first did it.
Yeah, I loved it when they.
Yeah, I like when they first did it. It all made sense, but it's now like I like it now, but just the world is more divided. Like before, I think the world was trying to be more together, and now it's like it's trying to be more divided. You kind of see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It just feels.
I feel that.
It feels way different.
I feel that.
You know what I'm saying?
That's why I always be talking about the '90s being like the golden era for Black folks in America because we felt more unified. It felt like we was coming together, and then a lot of shit happened between movies and media and things, in my opinion.
Yeah, even with social media, I believe social media. Like, I don't believe that everybody should have a mic put in front of them.
Well, no.
Like, I believe that's the one thing that social media, you know what I'm saying?
I had one of my clips on Twitch from, the various contents that I do. Somebody commented on it like, man, they made microphones too cheap. But
no, they are right. They made all music equipment too cheap.
They definitely did.
It wasn't just the microphone.
Yeah, no.
It was the computer, the keyboard, the VSTs.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that everybody should have a chance to follow their passion, but you have to be able to weed through the BS.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like who is really doing this because they're passionate and who's just doing it because they've like got a natural ear for it but don't really give a fuck about it. Who's doing it because they just had like,
a couple of dollars. And seen somebody standing on stage with a bottle of pop and they had some girls around them and had some money, so they're like, let me go buy a laptop and I'll eventually become that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
While I was at home back in the 80s taking part of radio.
Right. Trying to figure out how all right, so we got a few more questions before we get out of here. Mm-hmm. And these kind of big ones for me, I feel like these last couple is at least I talk about the St. Louis music industry exclusively for the most part, unless a weekend album comes out and then I listen to that a lot. But for the most part, I just focus on our music and our scene, whatever industry we have. What is the STL music scene lacking? What do we need to make this motherfucker like Atlanta? Like, and I mean, we're not a big city, so we'll never be that. But you know what I'm saying? To get this music where it's spotlighted, like these cities have.
It's a guy named KD, and I'm getting tired of saying this. God, rest in peace, KD. One of the dopest producers I ever came around. Big influence on me. Me, Steve Blastoff can tell you about KD from back then. Dope dude. He had a saying where it was like, I guess I can have the world because all y'all want is the block. And I say this to say this. In order for St. Louis to become this big mecca of music or whatever we're trying to become, we have to stop focusing on St. Louis so much and just caring about this. We have to look at the bigger picture of music. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, just because nobody in St. Louis likes your music doesn't mean somebody in Omaha, Nebraska won't love it. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have support in your own town. What I'm saying is, if you look at when you market your music, that you're trying to reach people outside of St. Louis, it'll help you understand the process of growth more.
Okay.
It'll help you understand that it's not your family or friends that put you on. It's little Joe Bob who never knew you in a small town that likes you, that is who really puts you on. So when I look at music, I look at it like, I don't no more think about whether it'll work just in a certain area. I look at it like, I got to find the people who love this and give them what they'll love and build that fan base. We spend a lot of time, in order for St. Louis to be huge, we have to understand there's a bigger world outside of St. Louis. And the more we start understanding that part of marketing, and listen, I keep coming back to the one thing, marketing, over and over. We start understanding that part of marketing. We understand that part of exploiting your music. It's not about exploiting your music to the people who know you. It's about exploiting to the people who don't. Our town knows us.
Facts.
How many people outside of our town can we get to love us like the people in our town do? That's what matters. You kind of see what I'm saying?
I feel that a lot. Like, I see so many people that be frustrated because people that they want to listen to them and support them, the people that they want to come to their shows, ain't
like
coming.
Why do you like? I'm like this. Why do you care if another rapper or artist like your shit?
Yeah, you
bro?
shouldn't give a fuck.
Why do you care? They not finna buy your shit. How about this little 9-to-5 worker who doesn't know nothing about the music game? Let's pick up as many as them as we can. Let's get as many as those people that we can to deal with this. You know what I'm saying?
And that's why I be telling them it's competitive, because the next guy who is doing the same thing as you, he ain't trying to buy what you doing.
No.
He ain't trying to come support what you doing.
No.
You shouldn't even be looking at him as a source of a person to come do what you see.
And there's a time when you should collab with artists.
There's a time.
But there's a time also when you got to understand, and collabing with an artist is just trying to open yourself up to their fan base. So you can hopefully grab some of their fans that'll like what you're doing. If you're collabing, that's what it should be for. That he has a bigger fan base than you, or a different fan base to you, or his fan base, or you can pick up some of his fans.
Right.
That's what collabing is for when you're an artist. But before you start collabing, you need to find out what your fan base is first.
Exactly. Yeah, your product got to be good.
Yeah, it's not even like you gotta find and to me, I don't think in the beginning that enough artists simplify their music in the beginning. They want to do a lot of different music all at once instead of simplifying their music, being who they are simply that way, and finding a fan base for that. It's cool you want to do rock, country, rap, you want to do over here, but nobody, listen, that ain't the we got it. Like, when we know we gonna listen to some R&B, we go into R&B. If we want to hear something, we gonna listen to this. You know what I'm saying? We know our artists are defined. Until you have a fan base that already likes what you do, you can't start exploiting other forms. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Outkast didn't start off like that.
Right.
Outkast started off like this and grew to that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta define your fan base, market towards them, and keep pushing towards that in the beginning.
And I don't think the world was ready for what Andre 3000 became back in '95 when Southern Playlist the Cadillac Funky Music.
But you gotta think his biggest records came when he became who he was. With
No
Hey
facts.
Ya and all
No
that.
facts. I know.
I know they ain't ready for what he is now.
Yeah. But do you think they was ready for that then? If he would have came out,
Outkast is like my favorite group, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I
could say
they
this.
probably would have.
There was more diversity in rap than now.
Yeah.
So it was, I don't know if we was ready for it, but when we heard it and it wasn't whack,
We would have fucked with it.
we fucked with it.
I think
It wasn't what if we did, like, you know what I'm saying? We did. Like,
it might have been bigger at that time.
yeah, it was
because of how
you gotta think how many that. So like, I don't even know if it was a diamond. That was a huge
man,
album.
that motherfucker was playing in Macy's and shit at Christmas time.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So like, it wasn't a matter of we was ready for it. We was ready for it. What he did was he kept his fan base with him and was able to pick up other fans at the right time.
Right.
He exploited. He didn't come. If he had came out like that, wouldn't have been no Southern Playlist of Cadillac.
You right.
It wouldn't have been that.
You
He took us along the journey correctly to where we was like, okay.
But it's not like he knew that was the journey at the beginning, though. You know.
He didn't know.
No, he didn't know.
You learn that as you become an artist, you grow over time,
You
and you
change.
adjust, you change yourself.
You change when you run across Erykah Badu.
Oh, this dude, oh my God. Whatever, hey, I ain't gonna lie, what Erica did back then, no, that music was incredible.
No, Erykah's incredible.
Yeah, that shit was, I mean what she did for Andre, that music with Andre.
It was incredible, yeah.
Like
you started seeing the changes with I don't even remember which album it was. Maybe Aquemini. One of them albums she was featured on.
Was it Aquemini? I started seeing it. See, Aquemini to me grew, but I think it was really AT-Aliens. AT-Aliens when it started. Is when it started a little bit.
AT-Aliens had that Bombs Over Baghdad on.
Yeah, it was that on, or was that Aquemini? I thought that might have been Aquemini.
That was on AT-Aliens. That was on
Hey, you know what?
I remember waking up late at night and seeing that video on MTV. Mm-hmm. And it was just so vibrant and it was colorful and different than anything that I seen. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And I seen that. I was like, yeah, I love that album. I believe that's AT-Aliens. I could be wrong.
I just want to know.
Bombs Over Baghdad. What is that?
Sandra, Stank on You.
Oh, yep, you right.
Stank on.
I forgot. Yeah. Because see, that's the body of work that they got. You know what I'm saying?
Like that was on Stank on You. Like, yeah, you see, that's a difference, dog. That's a difference. And they took you along that journey.
But so it had to be AT-Aliens. She was on there because they.
AT-Aliens was their second album.
Okay. Well, maybe Aquemini because they had that song. She was like, "Take a load off, take a load."
Yeah, I think it went Southern Playalistic, AT-Aliens, Aquemini, Stank on You, and then it might have been. See,
they did.
You see what technology do? You can see if you just Google, you get the answers.
Real quick. What was after that? They had the movie soundtrack.
No, then I think it was the. Hold on, let me see. Outkast albums. Let me see real quick.
What's crazy is a few summers ago, I sat up and listened to them all back to back, and I was like, God damn, now Outkast is incredible. Like the Dungeon Family and everybody over there.
1994 was Southern Playalistic.
Okay.
When did 1996 was AT-Aliens, 1998 was Aquemini, then came Stank on Ya, and then in 2003 came the Speaker Love Below.
Okay.
That's when it went.
Speaker Box Love Below.
Yeah, that's when it went, and then 2006 Idlewild. That was the movie. 2008, What You Been Waiting For. No, see, that's when it all. Miss Jackson was on AT-Aliens, wasn't it? No, when was Sorry Miss Jackson? That might have been on Aquemini.
And that was a big one too. Like that was a big fucking hit for them.
Let me see. Yeah, them was.
And you wouldn't even really, probably even think that one would have been as big as it was. But that was my jam actually.
Rosa Parks. That when Aquemini, that's when they started. That's when they started. That fuzz. Everybody moved to the back of the bud. That's when it started. That's when you started. You know what I'm saying? That's when it started going different, dog. But it was great music, dog.
Nah, for
and
real.
they kept you
You
interested,
couldn't
dog.
deny the music.
But now, I don't know if I think the fans have been taking so much on a ride to where familiarity is more important than it is.
I feel that too. I feel that in a lot of different things too, and not just with music, with movies, with gaming, with a lot of different
Just
things.
the familiarity of it
the
works
nostalgia.
better. Yeah, like
Yeah.
the nostalgia of new, and I don't think people want new when it comes to certain items no more. But I think they want to know what they get. And that's why I said with the artists, I think you got to be more defined when you start off. You kind of see what I'm saying? Because that definement, or it could be a lot of people where I'm at, where we tired of everything sounding like, and we urging for something to be different right now.
I feel like that's where it's really at. Is like you hear so many of the same things, and I like to hear things that are refreshing, different voices. We hear like there's Juice WRLD died, right? And then there's a new guy that sounds just like Juice WRLD,
Well,
and he popping right now too.
you're gonna have listen. You're gonna have that. You know what I'm saying? But sooner or later, that's gonna come to an end. Like people aren't gonna want to eat the same bowl of cereal every morning. Eventually, they're gonna be like, "Hey, we ain't that bill. We're not eating that no more." If that bowl of cereal tastes like that, we're not eating it no more.
So when do you think it'll change? What does it take for it to change? When do you think people get to the point where it's like?
I think we there. I think we getting there.
You
I
think?
think just us even having this conversation is part of the change, because you got to think how many of these type of conversations are happening
Right.
amongst people. Like, man, I'm getting tired of hearing all that sound like, you know what I'm saying? I like I think after a while it builds up to where the movement changes to where it's not cool to sound like nobody else no more. The same way it built up to where you gotta sound like certain people now. Like, and I call that the auto-tune age. When auto-tune hit, that's when it became cool to sound like everybody.
Well, yeah, when everybody started doing it, like
Because there's
really
only so
when
many ways you can push auto-tune.
That's another thing. It's like when it became easily accessible. Because let's be real, auto-tune was out in the '90s. Like Cher used it, you know. And then if you even think,
But
back before
auto-tune
that,
was a mistake.
Yeah,
Meaning
true.
this, auto-tune has been out because it was used to really correct pitch the right way. Somebody figured out if I turn up the retune speed and we can get this Roger Troutman thing about it, and then T-Pain, whoever T-Pain engineer is, I believe, because T-Pain might have been the first one that ever did it like that.
No, I mean, for me, the first person that ever I heard with that shit, where it was super noticeable, was Cher. Do you believe in love after love after love? And there was so many Cher fans that fucking hated that song.
When did that come out?
That was in the 90s.
Do you believe? Yeah, you're right. You're right. That is, yeah. In the hip hop genre, T-Pain.
T-Pain for sure.
T-Pain. And then Lil Wayne.
Then Lil Wayne, and then everybody else fucking did it. And the hip hop genre, we only utilized that sound with Zapp and Roger or Roger Troutman for real at the time.
Because they were using something totally different. It wasn't,
right.
It was
It's
actually,
vocal,
it was a vocal. It was actually
Vocal.
that. But the difference was also, I'm gonna tell you what auto tune did. Dog. It made everybody feel like they could sing, bro. And at that point, it's over, dog.
Yeah.
Hey, auto tune might have single handedly killed R&B music the way we knew it.
The way we knew it
And now R&B people use auto tune.
all the time.
You understand what I'm saying?
All the
Like
time.
now we don't care if you can sing for real.
That's
Cause I can make it sound cool, dog, with this auto tune.
Yeah. That's facts.
You understand what I'm saying? So R&B took a major blast. We ain't gotta get the R&B singer to sing the hook no more.
No, you can just have the
You know what I'm saying? Like you just have
Well,
to,
how responsible is Drake for that type of shit, though?
Drake, like,
think he's-
nah, I don't, like,
I don't think-
Drake's not responsible. Drake's not responsible for nothing. Meaning, like, this bad in the industry. Like, I don't, like, Drake ran his course. Like, he's not responsible for nothing bad that's in the industry. You know what I'm saying? Or nothing, like, music is music. Art is art. Creativity is creativity. You know what I'm saying? What we mad at Drake for being great?
Well, I mean, just the like more singy type of things.
He wasn't the first one to sing. Nelly sung before.
Yeah, I mean,
Nelly was on some of country with country people before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Nelly, like Drake wasn't the first one to do that.
And I mean,
you know what
we
I'm saying?
had Bone Thugs and Harmony and shit
Lil
like
Wayne, who signed Drake, was already singing on records before they had Bone before that.
And then there was a time.
We had Domino before them.
Fucking Domino, you show right.
You know what I'm saying? We had
Domino might have been one of the first motherfuckers. To
Nate Dogg's and them was doing that before. Like Drake wasn't the first one to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, okay, but those was like singing niggas. Like Nate Dogg was a singing nigga. You know what I'm saying?
You talking about the first dude who did both?
Yeah, like he was like. Yeah,
Then what was Nelly?
I mean, Nelly was.
Nelly sung, bro.
Yeah,
like,
he did.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Nelly sung. What was Nelly? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's no. Listen, we can't blame somebody for being great. How? What does that do to our culture if we knock down somebody for becoming great? Who are we to do that? Our idols in this culture are important to be idols in this culture. You kind of see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, that's why all this with Ye, Diddy, and all that is so detrimental to hip hop.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying who's right or who's wrong. That's not what I'm talking about. It's unfortunate that our idols in this culture, you know what I'm saying, have stains on them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's not good for the actual overlook of who we are in this hip hop business.
Yeah, I seen somebody on Facebook said that Diddy ain't an icon, and they said Wayne is more of an icon than Diddy, and I was like, man, I don't know if I don't believe that.
Listen,
Wayne's an icon, but Diddy has done a lot.
Wayne and Diddy, here's the problem. When we hear hip hop, we want to throw it all in one bag.
Okay, talk about that.
Yeah,
talk about that.
When we hear hip hop, we want to throw it all in one bag.
Okay.
And what we fail to realize within hip hop, we now have multiple genres of hip hop inside of it. And each genre deserves its own respect within its own rightful genre.
I agree.
When we look at Wayne can be an icon as far as it goes to artistry. But Diddy can be still an icon to people when it comes to the business end. Mm-hmm. Like Jay and them is.
Yeah.
You kind of see what I'm saying? How come both of them people couldn't have been an icon?
Right.
Why is it always, like I say this in hip hop, even though I've been a part of them and I understand it, why we always got some fucked up list?
You gotta have a list.
No, you don't. Do rock and pop people always got some fucked up list in their genre music? Or do they just try to come out?
I ain't never seen a top 10 rock acts list of all time.
Now, we still have the Grammys, we still have the award shows, but why do we always pass around some fucked up list to start some type of negative back and forth competitive bullshit when it comes to hip hop all the time? You know, we do it all the time. It's the first thing we do. We come out with some list, the greatest of all time list.
Yeah.
Motherfucker,
and it's all subjective.
How about just enjoy the music? When we gonna just do that? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I think there was a time when we did just enjoy the music.
That's what tears down our genre.
And then with all the social media and everything, and everybody has a voice.
Now everybody got some list, some opinion, some shit. Like, man, nobody gives a fuck. If I like a song, I don't give a fuck if Joe Bob made it. That's my favorite song. Guess what? And everybody's a champion that shit. Like, bro, that's your favorite song. Fuck it, dog. That's your favorite song. Like, how the fuck you like him? Oh, he ain't better than him. Hey, man, ain't no writer. What's the best color on the planet? Yeah. Don't nobody know what the best.
No, that's it's all subjective.
Yeah, so like,
whatever your favorite.
The only facts is sales. I'll give you that. That's right. And that's not even a fact because that's manipulated. But the only facts is numbers. That has nothing to do with what's the best. Sorry. No, it's hard for people to understand. Numbers has nothing to do with what's the best because there's no such thing as best music or the best song.
Facts.
Everybody has their own personal best.
Yeah, that's facts.
That's why rap music being so competitive, and I understand it in spirit, in the way it is in the culture, it's fucked up that we always got some list. Mm-hmm. Because all lists do is feed into the ego and the stereotype of who we fucking are, which becomes destructive to the culture. You gotta see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see that.
Like our culture is one of the most destructive cultures ever because of egos, lists, this, how we do this and how we like, it's just always so much, so competitive, so dog against each other. You know what I'm saying? When you hear about rock singers, they might be into it here and there, but they usually into it against their labels. It's very rare you hear about this group into it, this group.
Yeah, nah, y'all don't really.
And if it is, it's never public any fucking way.
I ain't never heard of like no rock and roll beef.
Oh, it'd be some rock and roll beef.
I can believe
It'd be some beef. But
they don't.
It ain't the same, dog. It don't be the same, dog.
Yeah.
You know why? Because one thing that we gotta understand, dog, there's a lot of money in this motherfucker, dog. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you from experience, it's a lot of money in this motherfucker. And it's enough for everybody to make something. You know what I'm saying? And in St. Louis, we just gotta understand a couple things. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's bigger than St. Louis. Stop all this bitching and blaming and saying who held you back, who didn't help you. Like, and I was talking to you earlier about this, and I was gonna bring it up. I was like, listen, in the culture of music, period, if you haven't got to where you at in the music business, it could be because of 3 reasons. The fourth, I didn't even tell you about the fourth. The fourth could be it's just not your time yet. But the first one can be is you're not talented enough yet, or you're not as good as who you think you are yet. Number 2 is your work ethic ain't good enough or there yet, or people don't like you. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm gonna tell you this: you can separate the people don't like you part if these other 2 things is good.
Right.
If you good and you work hard, it don't matter. Motherfuckers like you. Somebody gonna like your ass and be on the team. You know what I'm saying? But we find too many fucking excuses, and for every excuse you make, I can show you somebody that had the same scenario as you where the excuse didn't stop them. They think because somebody made it that, hey man, he didn't go through the same shit. How the fuck you know? That motherfucker might have went through 4 times more than you. He just handled it differently.
Right.
Or he was just more hungrier. Or he was better than you, and would you know his talent outshine that shit. Mm-hmm. The music business ain't made for everybody to make it. If everybody was a star, then who gonna buy the CDs?
For real.
You know what I'm saying?
For real.
Like, I know the work ethic that I put in. I know the work ethic that other motherfuckers put in that where they're at. And I'm like, man, I'm seeing this shit and I'm like, bro, you don't outwork dude. Dude got twice as much as you and he outworks you by a ton. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's shit like that I see, and it's always the people that have a reason that's negative of why they didn't make it out of a town or why this was. And does it ever the fault ever say, you know what, man? Maybe I was the problem. Maybe I'm the one. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I didn't do this, or maybe it was me. Man, you don't hear nobody take responsibility. I can take responsibility right now and say one of the reasons why St. Louis ain't where it's at is because it's people like me who didn't teach the actual business of how it really worked. People like me who didn't explain to people it's not one piece of power. It's a whole power ball that makes this thing go. So when you start pointing a finger, say, this guy didn't do this shit to help the town. This motherfucker didn't do this. You sound dumb as fuck to me because you don't know that this guy had a whole machine that made him go.
Right.
Or this was a situation that made him go. So if you can't put all those pieces in the machine, then he can't do that.
Facts.
You gotta see what I'm saying? All he can do is give opportunities, but the machine still gotta go, and then fans still gotta like you. You know what I'm saying? The game way more different than people think. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't fucking easy. That's why I tell people, don't get into it if you don't love it.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Because if you don't love it, you just gonna feel like you fighting an unwinning battle.
And then you gonna start blaming motherfuckers.
And even when you do love it, sometimes it feels like you fighting the battle you ain't winning. But then you start seeing the wins, you know what I mean?
Nah, but you winning every day.
Yeah, fact.
Because you doing something you love.
Right.
Like, you enjoying it. That's the win. That's the win. That's the only thing to expect out of this
really
game.
The win.
That's the win.
For real. That is really the win. Well, I was going to ask them if he had some advice for up-and-comers. But I feel like you gave them all the fucking advice they need.
You say all the advice?
Like, do you got a specific piece of advice for up-and-comers?
Listen. Grow. What that is and where you're at in your career, I don't know. But grow, and you can always learn from where you at. Stop basking in the negative and start using the positive resources and keep going. Do it for the love and learn as much about the business as you can. And stop putting anything that happens to you off on somebody else. Step over that obstacle and keep going.
Facts.
That's the best advice I can give you in the music business.
Facts.
It wasn't perfect for nobody.
Nah,
You know what
everybody.
I'm saying? It wasn't perfect for
Everybody
nobody.
done had challenges, and like I watch a lot of documentaries about music stuff, and everybody had a lot of challenges. No matter if we think they just blew up overnight or they, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Most of these
no,
people been working
it wasn't
for
it wasn't
5, 10
years.
plus years. Or if they haven't, like he said earlier, the people behind them, they've been building relationships that have entrusted, oh, I got this new guy.
You right.
Check him out.
Check them out.
And these are all things I be telling y'all about when I do music reviews. Why you motherfuckers be talking about, well, why am I paying you $5? These are the things why. Because we got a fucking 2-time Grammy nominated, multi-platinum producer, live in the living room. He's saying the same things that I've been saying.
Listen, here's what I understand. Stop bitching about paying for shit you need done.
Man.
Just be educated on why you're spending the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Don't bitch. You don't bitch about, man, I pay for everything that I get done damn near now. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a person where I could politic in, but I like paying people for certain things because they need to understand that this is business. You know what I'm saying? Stop bitching about paying this man $5. And I'm not on here to sell this man on no fucking $5. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
But
Because I should charge
if
more.
you don't want to use this man's services for $5, just don't use it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if you understand the benefit of being on this man's platform and understand that things he does cost money, then you have to pay what he's charging, or you don't need to be on it. But you can't bitch about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've paid for so many things that I've never used. Man, record labels have gave me $30,000 and $40,000 for tracks that they never put out. And turn around and give me another $20,000 for a track they're gonna use out there, and they never bitched about the 30 or 40 they didn't use and put out. I can name stories like that hand over fist. You know what I'm saying? So understand that what you're spending the money on, spend your money with a purpose, and understand that it's a part of putting a brick onto your own house and foundation. When you're spending money, it's like getting new rims on your car, washing your car, getting a paint job on your car. You're doing it for a reason to try to enhance your asset.
Right.
Your asset. Spend the money.
You are your asset. And that's, for me, that's one of the things that too many artists don't realize is you are the asset, and you don't want to spend money in yourself to be successful. A lot of y'all think that somebody gonna come in, swoop in, and just do it.
No, they don't spend money because they don't understand. And I understand that part. They don't want to spend money because they don't understand the value or how it helps them in the long run to turn the dollar. That comes into the fact of what I said. Don't be lazy and learn. You don't spend money because you're scared, because you're spending money not knowing why you're spending it.
Right.
Learn why you're spending it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying?
All right, so let me show y'all what I got some gifts. You know what I'm saying? I got some gifts. I love gifts. He got his head on right now. Let's turn to the back. But check him out. You can't do it. It is blurry. Yeah, you gotta back it up. I'm trying to. It's because it's trying to get your face.
Oh,
see, that's what it is. When it try to get your face. See, like, no, don't get your face.
You got your hand.
There it goes. See, Beatmaker USA, there it is. It be trying to catch us. And we also, this is what's really dope. I'm mad now that it's getting warm outside. Because he gave me a jacket. Yo, hold on, I gotta open this mug up.
What he say?
This mug got some writing on it and stuff. Oh man, look at that. I can't wait. I can't wait until it get cool again. If I got a couple cool days before this goddamn, hot weather,
He said he putting that on.
putting that on. Yes, Lord. I like shit like this. I definitely appreciate you.
No, I
for
appreciate
showing
you.
This quality. Let me show y'all. I just gotta show y'all a little stitching in there.
He said,
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, we need another cool day. Weather. So before you get out of here for me, what's in store for 2025, man? I know you've been doing a lot of content.
Yeah,
You've been
like
putting out a lot of content.
It's more with 2025. Like, I got a few new artists that I'm really gonna push this year. I'm not gonna say their names. I'm not gonna do none of that. We just gonna get them out there, start picking up their fan base, and start growing more. You know what I'm saying? Then I'm gonna start doing a lot more growth with people like you, more content creators from out this region, to maybe in the behind the scenes help you push your platform furthermore. Right. It's a lot more to this, you know what I'm saying? Like, and just overall growth with me in being a creator, you know what I'm saying? Like, any new ventures I can find as creative, you know what I'm saying? I'm in it. Oh, I wanted to start the show off like this. I fucking forgot, but I gotta give a shout out to everybody that's been helping with the tornado. The incident in St. Louis, like, I've never seen our city come together like that at a time, but I don't care if you went down there and helped picked up one stick, you put out water and everything, man. Salute to y'all, dog. Facts. To show that our city can still be that, dog, is amazing to me. And I hate how it takes tragedy for that to happen, but shout goes out to everybody that's down there helping in whatever fashion they can help in.
Big salute.
No judging of what you do. If you helped in your capacity, man, big salute for that.
Even if you just sharing what other people are doing. And
like, it does not matter. Whatever you doing, like, big salute for that. If you just bringing attention to the situation that maybe triggered somebody else to being able to do something, dog, shout out to you, dog. Like, our city at that point in time, we need as much help as we can. It's a lot of people that's in bad situations that we see in the city come together with, and I've not seen the likes of this, me personally, ever in St. Louis. And I want to give a shout out to everybody that has helped in any way they fucking can, dog.
Yeah, for real.
You know what I'm
Because it's definitely something that happens so fast, and man.
And just like that, one day your world can be just flipped upside down out of nowhere, dog.
I'm talking about, as sunny as it is out here right now, 5 minutes prior it was dark and it was crazy.
It could be sunny right now and you could be homeless 5 minutes later.
It's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, big shout out to everybody that's helped out anything they done towards that.
For sure. Anything else you got coming in 2025 you want to let them know about?
Nope. When it was coming in 2025, it's coming in 2025.
You're going to see it when it get here. We got one more thing before we get out of here. I forgot to bring this out.
What the hell is this?
Well, you got to sign. You got to sign the PlayStation 5 plates for your boy.
Oh,
we got a whole bunch of different names on here. Some artists, you know, all good people from the city.
I'm saying Zeus, all the movies.
Yeah, reaching this in the drawer right here for me. And back there, it's a marker box. I should have got it out, but yeah, Ray-Ban box, and it got all kind of colors and markers in there. You can choose you one or two or whatever you want to do.
Look, let me see a creative motherfucker do like this. Okay.
And then wherever you find a spot on there, you could be here, anywhere you find a spot.
I found my spot already.
You say you already know a spot.
My spot already.
Mad love to everybody that tuned in today. I feel like today has been a great interview. We've got some great gems. One of my biggest interviews to date for sure. And I really appreciate him coming through and spending time with me in the living room. There it is right there. We got Tarboy Williams live in the living room with us. Make sure y'all follow him everywhere. Tell him where to find you at,
Tarboy Williams, you can find me everywhere across there, dog. Like, just Tarboy Williams, you'll find me, dog.
Yeah,
reach out, dog. Like, reach out. Even if you just got some questions you need to ask. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to answer them all, but shit, what you got to lose to try? Like, fuck around and I get in there and be like, oh, this is the answer to that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, reach out, dog. Reach out, because I'm going to reach out to a lot of y'all anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. And like I said, y'all, you never know who be watching, man. Sugar Grit said, I need a consultation on the business side of a production where it needs to be in places and syncing. Hey.
Listen, if you need to know about syncing, you need to reach out to Skittles and them, Rimrod and them, and what's that over there? What's her name, dog? It's a few other ones you need to reach out to, dog, because they way better at that syncing than me, bro. Now, when it comes to the music business and music production, all that stuff, reach out to me on that. But when it comes to that music syncing, that's not my lane. That's like Skittles and Rimrod. They got that stuff on lock. Yeah, they different with that than me.
Talking about Skittles should be on there as well. So yeah, sure, there she go right there.
Yep.
Right there. Yep. Shout out to Skittles, yeah. But yeah, definitely me and him, you know, we locked in. We was talking about some good stuff behind the scenes. We ain't gonna talk about it.
Yeah, like we can talk about it.
You know what I'm saying? So mad love to everybody tuned in. Make sure y'all follow him everywhere. go listen to the music everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Check out the content and all that good stuff. We're going to get on out of here for the day. Make sure y'all go subscribe to the YouTube channel and make sure y'all run this back if y'all missed it from the beginning. Until the next time, y'all. Peace.
Peace. See, I like this shit though.
Big ground.
And in 3, 2, 1, we're alive from the living room.
Come one, come all, y'all all welcome to my living room. Pour up some drink, light up your spliff within my living room. We tell the truth, we don't do lies within my living room. Mi casa, not su casa, bitch, cause this my living room. Please stand on business if you sit down in my living room. Yeah, I play games, but don't you play around in my living room. Plus we all grown, ain't no kids inside my living room. Man, we be so high, might see 4 clouds in my living room. Let's make a classic, show some passion in my living room. Don't before you pass it, don't do ashes in my living room. Shit can get drastic, get on asses in my living room. Can't wear no hoodies or no masks in my living room. Come one, come all, y'all all welcome to my living room. Pour up some drink, light up your spliff within my living room. We tell the truth, we don't do lies within my living room. Mi casa, not su casa, bitch, cause this my living room.